Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you for stopping by. My name is Big Dave. This is Wrestling Montage Media. We do podcasts, custom interest videos, reaction videos, and different things that we trying out on the channel. So check those things out. Make sure you subscribe and like if it's your first time here. If you've been here already, you already know what to expect. We just going to go ahead and react to this wrestling news that's been going on now. This is by WrestleMania, and I skipped half the video because I'm doing this a little bit late. Because in the first half of the video, there's speculation about what The Rock is going to do on SmackDown. But as of now, we already know what happened when he, faced Cody and he announced the WrestleMania news. So we're going to react to that in the next video. But right now, we're finna do from that point moving forward because it's other things we need to cover.
A new report suggests that what appears to be a WrestleMania match between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu has been in the works for some time. WrestleVotes recently discussed the WWE's plans, noting, "We're told that there are plans for Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa to meet one-on-one at WrestleMania." According to a source, those plans were shaped shortly after the decision was made to do Solo Sikoa vs Roman Reigns at the Raw Netflix premiere back in January instead of WrestleMania, as it was a plan coming out of WrestleMania 40. Next up,
yeah, I think that'd be a good way to go for Solo and for Jacob to go ahead and have a match at WrestleMania. It's not really a WrestleMania match to me personally, but I mean it's definitely a big marquee match on somewhere throughout the year on the card. But I mean if it's for WrestleMania, then have at it. Should be a good stepping stone for both guys.
Shane McMahon wanted to buy part of AEW. Now it's time for an update on one of wrestling's hottest stories last year. What did Shane McMahon want when he met with AEW president Tony Khan? While there was the usual speculation ranging from Shane popping in just to say hello to McMahon working out a deal with AEW, but nothing materialized.
Man, there was a lot of speculation coming out of that. People were saying that they were possibly going to buy the company, or low-key that Vince and Shane were working together to buy AEW to compete with the company that Vince used to own, when he was head of WWE. If they were going to partner up and try to take out Triple H. It was just a lot of stuff coming out of that. And yeah, I heard some other. Let's see what the video says, but I'll get into it. What else been going around?
Now former WWE personality Jonathan Coachman is claiming on his podcast that Shane made a game-changing proposition to Tony Khan. Jonathan Coachman on his podcast claimed that Shane McMahon in his talks with Tony Khan asked for an equity stake in the company and wanted to run it, and that afterward Khan never called him back. Yeah,
he ghosted him. That's what's been coming out, that he completely just ignored and just ain't talked to Shane since that we know of.
In this week's Observer, it was noted Khan hasn't commented on the report. I mean, seriously, Khan is never going to just give a significant equity stake to somebody, nor is he going to let anyone else run the company.
Yeah, as he should. I mean, it's his company. It took up until this point for the McMahons to sell the WWE. So I mean, the company's been under the McMahons for the last 70 years. So I mean, it took for what happened with Vince for them to step down, but it's still within the family some type of way. AEW is only 6 years old. So I mean, moving forward, I don't know if Tony Khan has any kids, but who's going to take over if AEW lasts that long? I hope they do, but who's going to take over the company after Tony Khan?
They elaborated further, comparing Shane's rumored proposition to one where Shane McMahon approached UFC. It was the same situation for the first time Shane left WWF when he met with UFC, and told the people there was no way a deal would be made because Shane would never accept a salary position. And then the idea of them giving him ownership, just giving it, was never going to happen. He's not going to come in and work for a salary. I'm not even sure what role he would play. In WWF, people roll their eyes at the idea of him doing creative there, and he doesn't know the talent nor the landscape of AEW and has never run creative or been a key part of it anywhere. While one might argue McMahon couldn't do any worse with AEW creative than the promotion has done over the last 2 years or so, we find it hard to believe that Tony Khan would give up running the company he spent so much time running. Next.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, man. AEW is another place for the wrestlers to go, for them to work. That's always a good thing. So really, the more business that the AEW does, the more the wrestling business as a whole will flourish. And that's all we really want in the end, is for everybody to have work and to get paid to take care of their families.
Next up, rumored WWE plans for Malachi Black. Now, is Malachi Black headed to Raw, and if so, is he going to help Chad Gable handle his luchador problem and or join the Judgment Day? Wrestling News speculated on the segment from Raw that he believes that could be a sign of Black showing up on the Red brand. In case you missed it, Gable asked Mysterio for help in dealing with the various Lucha Libre stars that had defeated him, with Dirty Dom handing him a slip of paper. Gable declared, "I'm about to master the dark arts of Lucha Libre." This led to speculation that this could hint at Black's WWE arrival as he runs Dark Arts Pro Wrestling and Muay Thai alongside his wife Zelina Vega.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Dominic Mysterio also responded to a tweet by wrestling podcaster O'Shea Jackson Jr. hinting that the Judgment Day should add Malachi Black to the group. Dirty Dom replied with a gift that read, "No, we're good, thanks."
Dom is such a troll, man.
Malachi Black doesn't seem like someone to be a follower in a faction, and unless he takes the group over, he'd likely be lost in the shuffle. Next up, Nick Nemeth shares a weird Vince McMahon story.
No, if that's the case, then I think Malachi Black should join and then probably kick out Dom or something.
It's time for a story that hints at just how weird, if not creepy, things could get in WWE during Vince McMahon's reign. Nick Nemeth, aka former superstar Dolph Ziggler, appeared on Busted Open Radio, and he discussed one of the weirdest parts of the infamous angle where he had a storyline romance with Lana, the storyline and then real-life fiance of WWE superstar Rusev. According to Nemeth, he thinks the storyline was created as a reward for him. "I think Vince is rewarding me instead of giving me winning matches or championships was to be like, hey, he's with this girl now. I think that was my reward, was that I got a girlfriend at work." Now I know better than to try and understand McMahon's motives and reasonings, so we'll leave you to decide whether Nemeth's take was right. Regardless, he explained how things played out, and it got really kind of creepy. We're in a very small room with Lana and Rusev, and Vince is saying like, "Okay, we need you to be passionate together. We have to practice kissing in a very small room with a husband there, with Vince watching like this with a pencil."
Jeez.
You're like, oh god. And Nemeth,
That's some uncomfortable shit right there. I didn't know. Oh my god. You know, a lot of things, man. Storylines over the years. I've been watching wrestling 30 years, man. It's been a lot of stuff that happened that Vince McMahon played out, you know, in his mind on camera. I mean, it's been, you know, just look at the Attitude Era alone. That's a lot of different things, like the hand. When Mae Young gave birth to a hand, I mean, that was comedy gold. But you know, Vince had to approve that. Everything went through him. I mean, everything that we saw throughout the years growing up had to be the okay, and got the approval from Vince McMahon. Whether depending on, I mean, no matter how sinister or sick it was. Like, I think back to the Zach Gowen thing. It's like okay, if you guys don't know, Zach Gowen was a one-legged wrestler, right? And I mean, depending on how, I mean, I know different these days people look at it differently, but Brock Lesnar was really giving that man the work. He was a one-legged man in the ass-kicking contest, literally. And man, the whole storyline was just it was something else, and he really threw that guy around. I think Zach Gowen will still wrestle to this day, from what I've seen. It's just so many other things, but that in particular comes to mind.
told Busted Open Radio that taking acting classes really helped with the role. Next up, fans trolled Tessa Blanchard at TNA. It looks like the controversy surrounding TNA knockout Tessa Blanchard isn't going to go away. Blanchard, who's been accused of racist and bullying behavior behind the scenes, has been a polarizing figure in TNA since her return to the company, and fans really aren't holding back. This was seen on this week's edition of Impact, where fans chanted, "Tessa, we're coming for you," a not so subtle reference to Booker T's promo on Hulk Hogan at 97.
Oh my god, man.
Spring Stampede, where, well, you know what happened. Now it'll be interesting to see whether Blanchard continues getting heat from fans, and if so, how TNA handles things, especially with rumors that WWE is interested in bringing her in. While Blanchard would be a great addition to the WWE roster, it seems unlikely the promotion will want the baggage she's currently carrying.
Man, it's really touchy. I mean, the whole racist thing with Tessa, I guess she was, I mean, from the rumors, I mean, I wouldn't just call her a racist flat out. I mean, she used to live with Moose. I remember they told a story that they used to live together for a period of time. I mean, you just don't live with somebody if you just completely hate this other group of people. So, I mean, I personally think the whole thing is blown out of proportion, because, I mean, these days everybody's so damn sensitive and everything is racist. So, you know, I mean, if she was to, she should be held accountable, but then move the hell on. Period.
Next up, a former WWE superstar returns to TNA. Now, are you guys ready to walk with Elias, or should we say now Elijah? Former WWE superstar Elias appeared on this latest episode of TNA Impact, helping out popular star Joe Hendry against Epico.
Yeah, I checked that out. That was pretty cool. You know, I'm glad that Elias is back on TV somehow, because I seen him doing some indie stuff. He just didn't look right. It don't fit him to be on there. He need to be on TV somewhere. You know, especially the fact that he's so talented and he's still, you know, he's in great shape. He looked the same. He looked better than he did before. So.
And Primo Cologne, as well as performing an impromptu concert alongside current TNA World Champion Joe Hendry. Elijah was last seen competing in Ring of Honor, where he teamed with the Righteous Vincent and Dutch. There's no word on whether Elias's brother Ezekiel will turn up in TNA, but you can be sure that
that was some bullshit. That whole thing was so stupid.
Fans will be watching closely. Next up, more talk of the WWE changing up the Hall of Fame ceremony. The WWE's decision to air the Hall of Fame after SmackDown has been criticized due to fans walking out on the event before and during the ceremony. Critics arguing fans don't want to sit through that much wrestling in one night. And now Russell Votes is reporting, after speaking with sources, we've heard varying speculation about when and where the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony will take place. Some within the company strongly dislike the recent format of the ceremony following SmackDown. We're told WWE is considering a change, with no mention of the time or place in any WrestleMania promotional material so far. Now, with Triple H entering the Hall this year as a singles performer as opposed to his past induction as a member of DX, it's likely higher-ups want the best presentation for the game's induction.
They should just go back to what they used to do. It used to have its own night. It would be the Hall of Fame, and then, you know, WrestleMania. It should be, you know, back, you know, one night, then the next. It should be its own thing, because, yeah, you got to sit through wrestling, you know, because SmackDown now is 3 hours, and then you got to, you know, go to WrestleMania. So, yeah.
Next up, these titles won't be in WWE 2K25. That's bad news for fans hoping to see the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship or the Women's US Championship in the upcoming 2K25 game.
That ain't gonna be no problem. People in fan creations, they gonna recreate those belts. They ain't gonna be no big deal. I mean, they just came out, so you shouldn't really expect them unless they patch and do an update or something. But for the most part, they're gonna be in the game, whether, you know, the developers put it in there or not.
As Fightful reported, WWE Women's Intercontinental and US Championships will not be in 2K25 on release.
Right.
Now, at least there's some good news, as it could be added in DLC along the way. And finally, WWE removes a big botch from Raw. And last but not least, fans tuning in to replay this week's edition
Oh
of
my
Raw
God, yeah. So watch this live. I know exactly what they're talking about. It was a 3 count that the ref was counting, and it was clearly 3, but, you know, I believe it was Finn. Seth had pinned Finn, and, you know, he kicked out, but it was late as hell, and it was clearly a 3. But, you know, the ref didn't hit the mat, but, you know, Finn didn't kick out in time. So that's probably where he going with this.
See a major miscue, as it's reportedly been removed.
Yeah.
Inside the Ropes describe what happened during the live broadcast when Seth Rollins battled Finn Balor for a spot at next week's Men's Elimination Chamber. As Rollins covered Balor for the pin, Balor was late to kick out, forcing the referee to hesitate and stop his count, despite Balor's shoulders still being on the mat. This led to an awkward moment, but one that WWE erased through the magic of editing. They compared what happened live and how things looked on the replay. The live broadcast captured the awkward moment, with fans audibly reacting by chanting 3 when the referee stopped the count. However, in the on-demand version of Netflix, the botch has been edited out, making it appear as though Balor cleanly kicked out at 2 with that issue. The fans chanting a 3 was also removed, but the ref used suck chants that followed remained in the final cut.
I want to see. I may have to go back and look at that botch, the edited version.
Also had a few other mishaps, including Penta El Zero accidentally taking out the camera operator as well. Not to mention Lillian.
Hey, live TV, baby. Anything can happen.
Garcia calling Roxanne Perez Roseanne Perez, but they didn't remove those.
I did that before too.
So, but there you have it, folks.
Yeah, I called her Roseanne. I called her Roxy or something like that on one of my videos.